Canada here. We're going live a couple minutes later than we meant. I meant to go live right at 6 o'clock, but I lost track of time there. We're gonna get to talking about all sorts of stuff. I just have to make a quick stop back and change my hat to my proper Captain Canada hat. So stay tuned and just wait a little bit and we'll get things going. But we are live, so feel free to leave a comment and I'll get to it when I can. But I am at work, so I'm going to shut this camera off. Hey there, I see we got a viewer. I'm just stopping for a change of hat and we'll get things going. Thank you for the upvote there. I appreciate that. It goes pretty good. It goes pretty good. If I hadn't forgotten my hat, it would be even better.
Tatlong araw na lang, imbis na 5 araw.
Pwede yung itong araw mo sa kanila may liste.
Nasa bahay lang ako. Kaso ko pa rin sila, pero more on nasa kwarto lang ako. Pagka wala na yung mga bata, nasikaso ko na, mabaga na ako.
Bitsi Ega, nag-uuwi na yung mga kasama siya. Nasa labasan na, hindi ko alam may ginagawa. Iba nagalaw na naman ng Ega.
Mama, anong sinasabi niya? Anong sinasabi niya?
Kulang ka doon.
Kaya nga tama na yun.
Alrighty, we have a hat. Ooh, Daniel Berry Sports Highlight XO7Q says, "What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday." Oh, the Schofield Kid says, "Cleaning rabbits, contemplating having a beer and watching this. What about you?" Love to see conversation happening. And we'll be on camera just shortly.
Oh, you're so funny.
Alrighty. I didn't just have to get my hat, I also had to get my battery pack so I could charge my phones. Not had a little disconnect there for a second. Our topic was Canadian food. foods and our weird Canadian foods. I think they were referring to this pizza that I had uploaded a video of me eating, and it's got sesame seeds on the crust, and I think a lot of people think that's kind of weird, but after having it, it's really grown on me. What's a Canadian food? I remember as a kid we watched a video in school and it was showing food from all around the world, and the thing that it showed on Canadians was we have vinegar on French fries. And yeah, we do put vinegar on French fries, and up until I saw that video I had no idea that was a weird thing, or that other parts of the world didn't put vinegar on their French fries. So I guess that'll be my question to the audience right now is who likes vinegar in French fries, whether you're in Canada or not? Is that a popular treat for anybody else? I don't mind them myself. I don't have vinegar French fries very often, but it's not a bad combination of flavors, you know. It's a little tart. But we're just walking down Main Street right now. Normally I would be starting this stream down by Muskosipi, and that is where I'm headed. It's just I had to go back and grab some stuff there. So now we're on Main Street. I'll just show you where we're at. If you're from Grande Prairie, you might recognize some things. Yeah, we kind of had a refurbishing done on Main Street on just about everything. New benches, they planted new trees, and for the last couple of years they've been doing a good job of kind of keeping things going. It looks nice, like with all the maple trees and everything. It's nice. But yeah, I shouldn't veer off of that subject of weird Canadian foods or just Canadian foods so quickly. That's a good subject of conversation. The thing that I would like to do again, that I kind of started doing, what I would like to make sure I record all of it, is I want to go around to all the different fast food places. Oh, 1 second. I want to go to all the different fast food places and maybe regular restaurants too, and just compare everybody's poutines, because that's kind of the most Canadian thing I can think of, other than like maple syrup or something. Poutine is just fundamentally Canadian, but I would also like to know, did anybody around the world other than Canada enjoy a poutine? Is that a thing anywhere else? I know it's a thing in Canada. And then we have New York fries. It's basically just poutines, it's like cheese curd covered French fries with gravy. If that's not a poutine, I don't know what is. Yeah. But I don't know how long I want to yammer about food and snacks and stuff. Honestly, the thing that I want to talk about on this live stream, just so I have it recorded to some degree, I want to tell you how I got started as Captain Canada, how that all went down. And it's a very long story. I mean, in some ways it's the story of my whole life, because growing up with superhero cartoons and things like that, there is part of you that decides, I would like to do that in some fashion or form, even if that doesn't make sense. But then as time goes on, you find ways to make it make sense, especially when I started seeing the other real-life superheroes out there, like Master Legend, or I think one of the most iconic real-life superheroes that is appreciated but can't be appreciated enough is a character just called Superhero. And you might have seen him in some of the real-life superhero documentaries. He wears a slick red and blue outfit with a little bit of yellow. And he's got his head shaved like bald, like Bic bald. And he stands out for a lot of people on the documentaries because he's the real-life superhero who admits, I just do it because it's fun. Because so many people talk about the deep, the deep meanings behind what they do and why they do it, but he was just saying, I'm just doing it to have fun, and I appreciate that. I also am trying to do what I do for all those big reasons, to raise awareness for suicide prevention, to fight apathy, but I too would like to admit I am having fun. It is fun being a real-life superhero, even if it's not always fun. There are rough points, but what I didn't know is how much things would change from when you watch a documentary to when life kind of plays out. Because I had watched some of those documentaries with my best friend Brandon Banman, and he really believed me doing the real life superhero thing. But as we sat there watching Superhero just talk about how much fun he was having and seeing him with his awesome sports car. Oh yeah, I should get to the comments here. Showfield Kid says we have fried cheese curds here. Yeah, that sounds delicious, and it sounds very American too. Not to have fried things here too. But anyways, Superhero, one of the guys in many real-life superhero documentaries. Unfortunately, a couple of years ago, he committed suicide. And that was just a couple of years after my best friend committed suicide. And I had no idea, while I was sitting and watching that real-life superhero documentary, that the thing that I was fighting against would be the reason why important people aren't around anymore. People who are important to me and important to the world are not around anymore because of suicide. And it sucks. I would really like for suicide to end, because problems won't end. There will still be problems, but that would be nice if we just didn't have that as a problem anymore, that we didn't have to lose people to their own hand. But so how I started putting on the cape and getting out there in the world was kind of out of necessity as much as it was by choice, because I was paying a mortgage in Grand Prairie here for a couple of years there. I lived over by Hillside School. My dad had given me a good chunk of money to get me started on paying the mortgage and getting a house. And I did really appreciate that, but it kind of came with strings. I kind of felt like I was being watched the whole time, and I don't mean like in a paranoid way, like they're watching me. I mean like people are going in my yard when I'm not there and making my life uncomfortable. But I could put up with most of that. But I was in conflict with my neighbor over stupid things, mowing the lawn, whether a branch fell from one of my trees onto their property. It was just petty stuff. And then it escalated because my neighbors decided to put out a fake call, basically saying what happened was, in the middle of the night there was some banging on my door, like boom, 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 to the point where I didn't actually want to answer it because I'm like, what the fuck is this? Turns out that was actually the police. And they were coming to do a welfare check on me, but I either didn't hear them say it was the police, or I was just kind of freaked out because bang, bang, bang on the door in the middle of the night kind of thing. But I didn't realize it was the police at the time. And what had happened is my neighbors told a fun little story, a lie, where they basically said I went to them and I went to all my neighbors and said, "Goodbye, cruel world, I'm ending my life." And that absolutely did not happen. But once somebody tells a lie like that, and then your next of kin are basically they let other people know that this has happened, everybody starts worrying about you just because your fucking neighbor told a lie. And so I just want to make it really clear, even if you really, really hate someone, never, ever put in a false report of suicide. That has damaged my life more than anything else in my life. And the thing was, at that point, and not only were they putting out a fake, claiming that I was going to commit suicide, which I was not. I want to always repeat, it was a lie. They said that I was saying goodbye cruel world. It did not happen. My sister lives on that street, and she probably would have said something if I had said that. But anyways, then she called the police up, claiming that I threatened to assault her, when I want nothing to do with her. I try to stay as far away from her as possible, just because she is trouble. And so they called the cops up and put in this phony threat, like they claimed I was threatening her. And so this one cop comes over and is talking to me, and I kind of tell him, like, okay, this is what's going on. We have a conflict going on. I also pointed out that she had vandalized my house, part where she had ripped the rain barrel off the house. And I only know it was her because she was complaining about this rain barrel being full to standing water. And I explained to her that it's been like that for years. It was mounted to the building before I got there. And then it's just ripped off my house. And I'm like, oh, I wonder who did that. And so I told the cops that. But you see, she was telling her story to the other cops. And so the cops that were talking to her just come running over me like they're going to kick my ass. And the cop that was talking to me basically like, whoa, calm down. Like, and so nothing happened. Basically, the cop said, okay, you guys just don't talk to each other. And I was like, thank you so much. That's all I wanted. I just wanted to be able to live my life not dealing with my neighbor. And so that was exactly what I wanted to hear. But it was actually the other way around. Them saying that I had threatened them. They claimed that before they claimed that I went goodbye cruel world, which I did not. I just have to always emphasize that I did not say that. I did not threaten to harm myself. But that's what people think, or that's what people in my immediate family think, because that's what the authorities told them. And that's just it. I'm not actually sure who contacted who, if the authorities were contacting people, or if she actually had my dad's number, because I don't know who told him, kind of thing. And so I don't know. There's so much I don't know. I gotta be honest. In my own origin story, there is pieces of it that are confusing to me. But anyways, after they claimed that I said goodbye cruel world, and at the same time I was dealing with serious problems at my work. I used to work at the Prairie Mall. I worked there for 15 years, since I was 13 years old. And they just didn't value me as an employee after 15 years. I felt like I was being treated like a new employee. And so basically I decided this house is dangerous. I have somebody next door who's willing to make up lies about me. And I can't risk my reputation for this house. And so I decided that I would leave. I didn't have another place to go. I wasn't asking for help or handouts from anybody else. I didn't want help from anybody else, especially my dad at the time, because I was dealing with the HR department at work, and he told them that I was going to give them a call, didn't give me the number that I was going to use to call them, and then he went into surgery in Edmonton. And so basically I said, if he's alive, I'm mad at him, because I have to be worried about him because he's my dad and he's in surgery. But at the same time, he just kind of fucked me over. And now I'm just left holding the bag. And so I just said, fuck it. And I'm leaving the house. I'm done with all the stress that comes with it. I'm done paying thousands of dollars for a place that makes me miserable. And so I created a cart out of two bicycle carts, okay? You know those carts that you haul behind your bike, like the trailers? I had one, and I got another. I helped this old lady fix her fence, and she let me clear garbage out of her backyard, and there was this bicycle cart, and she said I could have that. And well, that was more than enough payment for fixing her fence. I really appreciated it, because it was a perfectly good bicycle cart. The only difference between the two carts was one had rubber on the rims and one had no rubber on the rims. But it didn't really matter. The wheels still turned just fine. And so I combined this cart with a tent. So I had shade. And I loaded up a whole bunch of supplies. I made my own dog food at the time out of seaweed, ramen noodles, and eggs. Eggs were the main ingredient. And that was basically my diet too. At the time, me and my dogs were basically eating the same thing. And I tell you, a seaweed and cheese omelet, and I would also add cheese or meat or something in there. It wasn't just eggs. An omelet with seaweed, cheese, and egg. It's pretty good. I at least like it anyway. Maybe not everyone would agree to me, but that's the more weird Canadian food. That's really just a weird my food. Nobody else is eating that around here. But I'll just show you where I'm at because we are at Muskogee Trails now. But yeah, so I basically decided I was going to go to Beaver Lodge. I wanted to go to the world's biggest beaver because it was a landmark, and suicide prevention made sense to me because I had lost my best friend to that. And so I put my cart together, I loaded up all my supplies, and we took off. And there was so much construction going on in Grande Prairie, it took a full 24 hours just to get out of town. I had to go around and around and around. I couldn't go straight through Grande Prairie because it was just all under construction. And so that was an obstacle. There was always another obstacle and another obstacle. But I wasn't stopping. I was motivated. And so basically I set off on my journey, and I realized I had packed all these things to make sure my animals were comfortable in the cart. But I hadn't actually considered how I was going to make myself comfortable. And I didn't pack any like sleeping bag or anything like that. And so on my way out of town, I was like, where can I get a blanket or something? And so I actually went to a hotel on the edge of town, and I was like, okay, this is the bottom line. I know you got blankets and I got money. Will you sell me a blanket? And they're like, no, we don't even have a way of like doing that. And it's like, I had to try because I knew they had the goods. I knew they had the blankets, and I knew they had a lot of them, but I thought I would just give it a shot. And unfortunately, no, you can't buy a blanket from a hotel, but that's all right. That's not what they're there for. It's just, it was worth a shot kind of thing. And so as I was leaving town there, somebody from Flynn's Towing pulled up, and they wanted to see how I was doing because I had my cart and everything. And I was like, oh, I'm doing this, and I let them know that I was going out of town, but I wasn't able to charge my devices like my phone and other stuff on the way out of town. That was one stop I wasn't able to make. Or actually, I had stopped at the museum to charge, but there was a security guard there who was basically like, yeah, I can't just leave you, can't just let you stay here and charging stuff. I gotta like make sure nobody's on the property. And it was like, oh, fair enough. He even stood around for a couple minutes to give me some time to charge things up. And so I appreciated that. But unfortunately, I didn't have a charge. But this nice lady from Flynn's Towing, she took all my devices and she brought them to her shop and charged them up for me. And she even got me a little first aid kit and some snacks and stuff. And it was like, that was really nice. I really appreciated it. And after not being able to get a blanket, it gave me this extra motivation. Like, yeah, no, I can do this. Like, I may not have a blanket, but I have supplies. And now I have even more supplies because someone's giving me some treats and stuff. And so it was time to continue on to Beaver Lodge. And as I went, there were cops that were asking what I was doing and wondering, like, what's my deal? And I know realistically they were observing me to decide whether or not I was on drugs or not. But they decided that I was coherent and could have a reasonable conversation. And So they would check on me, and they would let me continue on my way with my cart. And so it continued on like that for many days. I wasn't, with the cart, I had to go incredibly slow, incredibly creeping along slow. And as I was going, people would stop and see what I was doing. And when I told them that I'm raising awareness for suicide prevention and I'm going to Beaver Lodge, they would be like, oh, wow, let me help you out, kind of thing. And people were giving me all these supplies, like food, a little bit of cash, like nothing serious, just like 20 bucks here or there. But I appreciated it. And it just gave me this big boost of motivation. And so I was starting to clean the ditch. As I basically, from the airport all the way up to about Wembley, I managed to get the ditch clean. And it was like slow going. I would like do like a little patch at a time and kind of work an area and then move the cart along, and then work the area around the cart and move the cart along. And then as I got more and more supplies, I felt more obligated to raise more positivity and do more with the resources I was being given. And so I was starting to wave to traffic and say, you are a winner, and basically being like a cheerleader on the side of the road, waving to every passing vehicle and bowing to passing vehicles, and just trying to show people the respect they deserve, because that's just it. I think everybody deserves a whole bunch of respect, but nobody has the energy to give it because it's exhausting, But I had the energy, and I wanted to show people that I could put on a show for them. I could wave to them. It was the least I could do if people were donating all these resources and stuff. And so as more resources came in, and as I wanted to raise more positivity, I went slower and slower. And I was not concerned with how slow I was going, because we had lots of supplies. Some nice people had donated a sleeping bag, so I was able to sleep no problem, and it was great. It was really great. I even, once the word was really getting around, I knew I had to amp things up, because I'm like, real life superhero, what does that mean? Like, what can I do that's like next level? And so I was telling people that I'm willing to do memorial tattoos. And by that, I mean I'm already tattooed. And I know some religions don't allow people to get tattoos, but I've already crossed that bridge. So I wanted people to submit the names of their lost loved ones, and I would tattoo them on my body so they could be with me on the journey. Like, they would be forever with Captain Canada. I wasn't Captain Canada at the time. I didn't have a name picked out. But they could be with me. And here they are. I'll show you. I'm not full of shit. I don't know how easy they are to read, but there was Tyler Ryan, Jason Lilly, a store in Grand Prairie that was willing to offer support was a pot shop called Plant Life. They're also tattooed on there. Jeremy Legal, and it's really hard to see, but above Jeremy Legal it says CJ. And I tattooed those on me with a safety pin. I also tattooed the initials of my best friend. And Louisa here is, I'm pretty sure, was actually an internet scammer kind of playing a prank on me, but they're a human being too. So even though that's probably not their real name, I'm still glad to have a piece of somebody with me, even if they gave me a fake name. That's okay. But yeah, no, and I'll say it here now. Let's get the fucking let's take off the weight. Let's really get things flying here. Yeah, I just want to announce that I'm going to continue tattooing memorial tattoos on me. So if anybody has a suggestion feel free to leave a name in the comments. I would appreciate it if you specify that's what the name means. But yeah, I am willing to tattoo names and initials on me for memorials, or just if you want to contribute. They don't have to be the names of the deceased. You can contribute your own name if you want to be tattooed on Captain Canada, because I mean it when I say we are all in this together, and I want to really push the fucking bar as to what it means to be a real life superhero. I want to do things that other people are not willing to do. And that's okay. Other people don't have to take people's memorial tattoos. It's a lot of weight, but when I need extra motivation, I have these tattoos, and they mean a lot. They're not the prettiest tattoos in the world, but they sure mean a whole lot to me. And so, I didn't tattoo them on my arm as I was going on the road. That did happen. Well, as I'm getting to, there was a bump in the road. Well, as I had mentioned before, my dad was in surgery there, and so now came the time when my dad discovered me on the road there, and honestly, we had a good conversation. I thought everything was all right. We talked, we cried, and I just told him that I can't do the house anymore. I'm sorry, like, I don't want to disrespect you or anything, because he gave that to me, but we decided that we were going to turn my house into a rental property, and it would have been beneficial for me, and also I wouldn't have had to live there and deal with my neighbors and stuff. I see we lost an upvote, but that's okay. But anyways, what ended up happening was I sent my dad a text basically saying, I know you want to help, but there have been a lot of times in the past where I needed your help and you weren't there for me. And so what I need from you is just to not throw away everything that I own in my house. Because I was worried that's what I had accidentally given him permission to do. Was we're talking about cleaning the house, and so that meant, throw everything away. And so I just wanted to make it clear, I don't want you to throw all my stuff away. And apparently that was the wrong thing to say, because the next morning I was greeted by police officers. I am used to being greeted by police officers, it's no problem. But they were here for a different reason. My dad has had me labeled a threat to myself and others. And so now they have to take me, and they have no choice at all. It's completely out of their hands. And so I got picked up and got sent to the hospital. And yeah, I got a clean bill of health, but I had to restart my journey. I had to figure out what happened to all my stuff. Apparently, oh, cool. Thanks, brother. But yeah, no, I got picked up by the police, and they brought me to the hospital, and they put me under a whole bunch of medications that I just exercised through it all. I just used their treadmill and stuff they had in the tiny little hospital, and whatever they gave me in medicine, I would just eat 10 times. I would just eat all the food they gave me. There's so much food available. I would eat, if other people didn't want to finish their meals, I would eat it. I just wanted to burn that poison out of my body. I didn't feel it was doing anything good for me. So I just ignored it. I just ignored it and continued doing my exercises. And eventually they let me go. And but then I had to figure out, well, where's anything? Where's my cart? Where's my dogs? Where I was basically, when I was in the hospital, the dog pound was acting like they didn't know who I was, and they didn't want to talk to me. But when I was out of the hospital, it's like, no, you can come get your dogs. There's no problem. They're not confiscated or anything like that. But when I was in the hospital, they treated me very different. Oh, really? I guess the Schofield kid got escorted out of an ER once by sheriff's department just for showing up. That sounds interesting. I wouldn't mind hearing a little more of that, but I will continue on with my story. But yeah, I found out that my cart that I had built had basically been destroyed and mangled, and like there were tent poles in there. You know those fiberglass tent poles? Yeah, somebody had snapped those things. Like, you gotta be a real angry person to snap fiberglass tent poles. And so yeah, people just completely destroyed my cart. I had part of the pets that I had brought with me, the animals that I brought with me, were my chickens. And my chickens were laying eggs on the road, and they were eating good, and they were doing really good. But I have no idea what happened to my chickens. And you can say that's my fault for bringing them on the road, but I couldn't legally have them in town either. So it was a matter of, I didn't have them legally, but no one actually said they confiscated them. There was no record of them being taken. And so as far as I know, a bunch of fucking farmers took my chickens. I have no idea what happened to them. They were not confiscated. They didn't end up at the pound with my dogs. I have no idea what happened with them. I raised some of those chickens from eggs, watched them grow up. They meant so much to me. And I had a very complicated relationship with my chickens too. They weren't normal chickens. They were sacred animals. I'll just put it that way. I valued them very greatly. And I wouldn't sound sane if I explained how much they meant to me. But I don't think love and family is necessarily always the same thing. But yeah, so I got back on the road. I got my dogs back, and I tried again. But it was different this time. Nobody wanted to talk to I wasn't Captain Canada at the time, but nobody wanted to talk to me anymore because they had seen me being taken away by the police. And the whole mood had just changed. Nobody gave a shit anymore. They just figured I was a crazy person, and it was wrong to encourage me. And so I packed for the journey that I had been on before, where I was meeting people and they were talking to me, but that wasn't the journey that I got. I was just out there by myself, and basically I got picked up again by the peace officers, who claimed that I was now in a much worse state than before, even though I was in the exact same state that I was before. And they used a Facebook post to lock me up the second time. And that Facebook post was, "I'm getting all this support from people. I feel like a king in the ditch. Because all those people were helping me, I felt like a king." Well, you can't say that. It was right on the paperwork. That's delusional, you know? You can't say you feel like a king. Like, if I had said I felt like $1 million, they would say, "Oh, he thinks he's made of money." It's fucked up. To think that you can be thrown in the hospital for just saying you felt like a king is one of the most disturbing parts of this story, I think. So I went in the hospital again. And actually, I had mistold things. When I first went in, they didn't give me a whole bunch of drugs and stuff. It was the second time that I was in where I was eating all the food and doing all the exercise to get that stuff out of my system. But yeah, no, they drugged me for a while, and then eventually I was allowed out. But after they had picked me up the second time, I realized that they were just going to keep picking me up, you know? Like, they were going to just keep finding excuses, and I wasn't going fast enough. The problem was I wanted to rest. I wanted a walk where I could stop and I could rest. Well, you can't have that. Grand Prairie doesn't allow that. You can't rest in Grand Prairie. You have to keep moving. Otherwise, they abduct you. You see it all the time with the homeless people in Grand Prairie. I call them homeless raptures. You see just piles of clothes just scattered all over the place. And it's because they pick up the homeless people and they just leave their stuff to be picked through, and it's disturbing. It just shows a complete lack of care in a whole bunch of ways. And that's basically what happened to me when I got picked up and my cart was left. Just random people just came up and tore it to fucking pieces for souvenirs or whatever. I don't know why the hell they decided to destroy my cart. Might have been my brother too. There's a lot of parts of my story that are I wasn't there, don't know what happened. All I know is my shit was fucked up. And my brother refused to bring my stuff to my house. He says, I'm not bringing it to that house. And instead, he dropped all my stuff off at my mom's apartment, this massive pile of broken cart and all my stuff, dropped it off at her apartment just to inconvenience everybody. Even though I had a house I was paying mortgage at. No, not going there. And I called the police up and I'm like, my brother has my stuff and he's not bringing it to my house. And the cops basically said, yeah, he can drop it off wherever he feels like it. And it's like, oh, cool. And I basically said, officer, I would like you to be there when we have our interaction. And the cop talked to my brother for a while, and then the cop asked me, so what, are you going to fight him? And it's like, yeah, I wanted to fight him. That's why I wanted a cop there. Like, that's real fucking intelligent. You're a dumb fucking cop. I'm glad the RCMP are being replaced. They haven't given me too much trouble for the most part, but they ain't very much fucking help, I tell you that. I'll tell you a real fun story about the RCMP since we're telling fun stories. There was a night where my best friend Brandon was doing some drugs, and I didn't realize what drugs they were doing. I just smoke weed and I kind of just look the other way at my friends doing other drugs, and maybe I shouldn't have, maybe Brandon would still be here had I, gotten on his ass a little bit, But what ended up happening was my buddy Brandon apparently was doing speed, and he was having a real bad reaction to that because he seemed to think there were people in the house out to get him, but not the people that were in the house. There were other people in the house, and they were hiding around the corners and peeking their heads out of closets and stuff. And all the other people in the house, like me and the other people, we were just messing with Brent. He thought we were messing with him and just ignoring those people that were freaking him out, and so we were in on it. And so Brandon's kind of having a rough time, but he decides when they're going to McDonald's, he wants to come. And didn't really think it was a good idea at the time, but maybe it would help him calm down a little bit, But right before he left, he says my address. He just says it out loud. He says 39 Meadowview. And I'm like, Brandon, why did you just say my address? And he's like, oh, no reason. And it's like, that was odd. Wonder what that means. And maybe I sensed something was up because Brandon, when he was at McDonald's, Brandon just took off into the darkness because it was the middle of the night. It was probably in the AM, actually, like after midnight. I'm not exactly sure what time it was. But it was late. It was dark. And Brandon, in his altered state, he apparently thought there was somebody in the back seat with a shotgun. And he was with the girls. And he decided those girls can deal with this. And he just took off into the darkness. And then he started calling the police. First he called me. And he told me what had happened. And I was just kind of glad to hear from Brandon. But I would talk to him for a little bit. And then he would hang up. When he hung up, the reason why he hung up is apparently he thought he heard a shotgun blast on the phone. Now, he could have just called me back, but he decided instead he would call the police and say there were shots fired at 39 Meadowview. Now, working backwards, I can't help but think, did he plan a little bit? Like, it seems like it's all random bullshit that's just happening, but why did he say my address? And now he is using my address to get me in trouble with the police. And so basically the police show up at my, and I didn't find out why they thought, basically the police showed up at my place and they're like, Brandon says there were shots fired here. Or no, that's not even how it happened. They were looking for Brandon and they were directed to my house because they were also on the phone with him and he kept hanging up. But as we were sitting there talking about, like, yeah, I'm not really sure what, they're like asking me what drugs is he doing. I'm like, I honestly don't know. Like, I'm being honest with you. I'm not going to say he's not doing drugs, but I actually don't know what he was doing. And they're like, come on, man. Like, you must know him. I'm like, no, I actually don't. Like, maybe that makes me a bit of a bad friend. And I feel the guilt of that. But as we're talking, then I hear on the police radio, shots fired at 39 Meadowview. And I'm just standing there like, no, that's not true. And they're like, can we come inside and take a look? And this is back before weed was legal, okay? And I got bongs all over the place. And I'm like, I know this is more serious than weed, but I also don't feel like getting busted for weed just because of this crank call that's going on. And they're basically saying, it's like, for all we know, Brandon is in there. And it's like, he's not. I swear to you, he's not. But then Brandon kept calling in. And so they're like, okay, we're pretty sure he's not here. And they left. They actually just... I think I did end up in the back of... no, they put me in the back of the cruiser for a little bit. They didn't just leave. And they called Brandon up. And I was basically like pleading with Brandon. I'm like, Brandon, can you just tell them that you're not at my house right now? Please? And he acknowledged the cop was talking to him, but when I talked to him, he kind of just ignored me. And then he hung up the phone again. And so basically they're like, okay, I think he's not here. That's good enough. And I'm like, can you let me know when you pick him up so I'm not worried about him being out there, like, causing havoc and shit? And they're like, yes, we'll let you know when we find him. And then I think a lot of time went by. It might have been like an hour. And it's like, you can't really relax because you're worried about your best friend. But at the same time, nothing terrible has happened yet. So it's like, okay, a crank call about shots fired at my house sucks, but I didn't get arrested, so whatever. We're good, right? And so I wait, and eventually I get a phone call from Brandon. And so I pick up the phone, and I'm like, hey, Brandon, what's up? What's going on? And all I hear is, stop resisting, stop resisting, stop resisting. Apparently, Brandon didn't call me. Apparently, he just dropped his phone, and in smashing on the ground, somehow his phone called me. Just happened that way. That's at least what he told me anyways. And so I just got to hear him. Basically, I heard, stop resisting, stop resisting. And it didn't really sound like anything was happening. And so eventually it quieted down and I didn't hear anything. And so I ended the call. Part of me wishes I had stayed on and listened a little bit longer, but there didn't seem to be anything left to listen to. So I ended the call. And but then I was like, shit, did they get him? Like, I'm assuming he's arrested now, but I don't actually know that because he was still resisting. So he might actually still be out there in the world. And so I kind of had to play don't give me information, give me information with the dispatcher. I called up the RCMP or the I called the RCMP line, and I'm like, my friend is out there, and I don't know if he's been picked up by the police or not, and I kind of just want to know that he's all right for the night. And the operator is like, well, we can't actually give you information on people's, like, state or, like, if they're in custody. You know, that's, like, private information. And I'm kind of like, well, I need something. So I just lay it out for him. Like, okay, he's been calling you guys. He's been calling you guys quite a bit tonight. And I just want to make sure that he's not still out there making crank calls and stuff. And she just said, we haven't gotten one of those calls in quite a while. And I was like, thank you. And that was good enough. He wasn't continuing to call the police and stuff. So I figured that meant he was in custody. I am pissed off because that RCMP officer said they would let me know when they had him in custody, and they made no effort at all to let me know. And I understand that's not necessarily their job, but I would have really appreciated it. But that's not really the problem I have with the RCMP in this situation. It's what continued to happen after Brandon was gone. When Brandon came out of the drunk tank after that, he had both of his arms broken. Both of them. And basically, he was fighting like 5 cops around the time the stop resisting was happening. He was fighting lots of cops. And so they broke his, I believe his left arm first, in a way, in trying to restrain him. They broke his left arm. And that's terrible. But I kind of understand how that one happened. But his other arm being broken was completely fucking ridiculous, because basically he's in the drunk tank and he's just realizing that they must have given him his phone back or something, but he has his phone. He's not supposed to have his phone, but he has his phone, but he's realizing it's broken. It's like fucked up, like he can't use it. But they see that he has his phone, so they jump in the drunk tank and they fucking break his arm taking his phone from him. And it's one of those things, I'm going only on Brandon's he's the only witness to this, you know? And so I'm trusting my best friend that he told me the truth, that when he says they broke his other arm, he was already in the drunk tank. And I think that's unacceptable. But it's the story I was told, and I don't know if there are errors in it. But a lot of it was a real rough journey. But back to the rough journey, let's get back to the first time I tried to go to Beaver Lodge. So, first attempt, my dad got me locked up. Second attempt, peace officers locked me up because of a Facebook post. Because I said I felt like a king in the ditch because of all the support I was getting. That was why I got locked up the second time. The first time, my dad got me locked up because he lied about me being a threat to myself and others, and he knew it was a lie at the time. So now we're getting on to the third attempt to get to Beaver Lodge, and I made it. I was just by myself. I no longer had the cart. I didn't have my companions with me. It was just me. And so I was determined we were going to make this happen. We were going to get to Beaver Lodge. And so I made it all the way to the Wembley Museum, which is halfway to Beaver Lodge, basically. And when I got to the Wembley Museum, there was a lady there. And I was walking towards the museum, and I think she felt that I was getting a little too close to her vehicle. And she's like, "Get away from my vehicle!" And I'm like, okay, it's all good. And the thing that I found out just after, because I basically went inside, used the bathroom, and came out and had a nice conversation with her. And she was basically saying, "Sorry, I didn't mean to be so defensive. I just got finished cleaning human shit out of this vehicle. I was offering a homeless guy a ride, and then he took a shit in her vehicle. She was offering him a ride, and he took a shit in her vehicle. And there may be more to that story. Okay, this is the freaky thing, is when I was in the hospital, there was a guy in there. There were 2 guys, actually. 2 guys that I don't know what the deal was, but I may have been partially responsible for why they were in there. Because the one guy, his feet were all messed up because he was attempting to walk to Beaver Lodge. And that freaked me right out, because I didn't know if he was doing it like copying me, or if it was just a coincidence. But I chatted with the guy, and he was a good guy. I think, I don't want to say his name because of where we met, but he was a good guy. But I never did find out why he was walking to Beaver Lodge, if it had anything to do with me, or if it was just a coincidence. And there was another guy, and I also don't know if he was just kind of fucking with me, or at the time I was actually thinking he was like working with the doctors or something, because it was weird. I know that sounds paranoid, but this is what happened. Is I was in this room. It was like a room with more than one bed, and in the middle of the evening, somebody got checked in, and they needed like a room to stay in, and so he was in my room, and first he asked me, "Hey man, do you know where to get some weed?" And that was a weird question for inside a hospital, I thought, but you know, when you want weed, you want weed. And so I told him, no, man, I have no idea where to get weed. But it had me thinking he was put in there just to ask that question. And I'm like, so how'd you end up in here? And he's like, oh yeah, I was stealing trucks. Or no, he didn't say stealing. He said I was doing stuff with trucks for suicide prevention. And that really freaked me out, because I'm like, whoa, what's this all about? Is this guy just fucking with me, or is he actually on like the same mission as me, and we ended up here for the same reasons? But then flash forward to out of the hospital talking to this lady. What was he doing with vehicles? Because I'm like, oh my God, is the guy who shit in her vehicle this guy? Why would I think that's him? You know, like, that's why you need to ask more questions. Like, I should have asked what he was doing, what he was all about. But I was so freaked out by these two guys and their similarities to what I was doing that I didn't ask questions when I should have. But it was some freaky shit, I tell you. But anyways, I'm talking with this lady, and we're having a good old time, and she's got a bong on her, and so it's like, oh, cool, we can have a hoot, and she's basically she's drinking these energy drinks, and she decided she didn't want them, and she's like, oh, fuck these, I'm going to just pour them out. And I'm like, no, I just walked 20 kilometers. I could really use those, even though they were the crappy sugar-free kinds, I would love to drink those. And so as we're chatting and talking, we basically come to the agreement that she would buy me a bag of weed. And I was like, oh, wow, that's awesome. But she would drive me to the store, and then we would drive back to exactly where we were, so I wouldn't like be cheating on the walk. We would just go back to Grand Prairie and then come right back to the museum where we were at, and it would be no problem. So I thought. And you know why you don't take fucking rides from strangers, people? Because it's dangerous, okay? What ended up happening was, as we were going, I was trying to find a place to set these energy drinks, okay? I'm trying to find a place to set the energy drinks, and she drives pretty fucking fast. And so now I have just spilled energy drinks in the vehicle that she just cleaned human shit out of. And so she got very mad, and she got very mad with an accelerator pedal, and she just drove as fast as she could, and she was weaving through traffic. And at first I was begging her to please stop, please, I don't want to die, because she was driving like a maniac. And I realized that she wasn't going to I couldn't beg her to calm down. So I was like, okay, let's lock in and solve this situation. So I just asked her plain and simply, would you like me to clean this spill while we are still driving? And she kind of didn't say no. She kind of gave me a little side eye, but she didn't say no. And so I'm like, okay, we will clean up the mess while we are driving. And she's still driving top speed, like fucking fast. But as I'm cleaning things up and she's driving really, really fast, I'm starting to realize that as scary as her speed is, she is in control of the vehicle. So I will, for the sake of both of us, I will trust this person, because I have no fucking choice. And so as I cleaned things up, she gradually relaxed and let off the throttle a little bit, and then we were driving at a more reasonable pace. And so it was like, okay, that was scary, but that's all right. You know, people, I did spill the drink in the vehicle that she had just cleaned human shit out of, and so I understand that she was upset. But now we were at the weed store, and so it was like, okay, pick out a pipe and get a bag of weed, and it's all good. And but then she's like, oh yeah, I also want you to finish cleaning that up. And I was a little offended, because I was like, even though we were driving at high speeds, I thought I did a good job cleaning that up. But I was like, okay, I will do that. She was just going back in the weed store for one more thing, and I was just going to find any last little bit of mess, and I was going to clean it up. And so, but I was worried I was going to piss her off again. I was really worried that I was going to do something to piss her off. So I had found a battery booster underneath her seat, and it had some of this drink spilled on it. And all I'm thinking is, should I just try to clean it up where it is, or should I pick it up and wipe it? Because I don't want to touch her stuff without her permission. I'm worried that I'm going to piss her off. Little did I know I had already set off the bomb and my legs were laying 3 feet behind me. Because she comes out and she's like, why did you open the driver's side door? And I'm like, boom, yeah, fucking, yeah, I'm dead. And so I'm trying to tell her, and she's like, you went through my stuff in the back, I can tell. And I'm like, I swear I didn't. I don't know what you're talking about. And you know what? I really don't like the direction this is going. You can have your bag of weed back. I don't want it. I think we should just go our separate ways here, because I'm just not, I didn't say it, but at the end of the day, I was not comfortable getting back in the vehicle with her because her emotions were so back and forth. So I'm like, I really appreciate it, but here's your bag of weed back, and I'm going to just go. And I'm not really happy because I've been driven back to Grand Prairie again. So this was the third time going towards Beaver Lodge that I had now been sent back. And so basically I'm just like, okay, let's get going. And then I hear over from the vehicle behind me, you stole my phone! And she drives towards me really fast, like she does. And so I drop my stuff and I run towards the building, like the sidewalk of the building nearby. And I'm like, I swear I didn't. And I'm like, give me back my phone. She's screaming at me. I was like, get away from me, you psycho. And I felt really bad for saying that because I know she was going through some harsh stuff at the time. And yeah. I see we've lost our viewer, but that's okay. I understand people get busy, and we've been going for over an hour now. And but anyway, I left my bag of stuff out there, and so when she drove towards me thinking that I stole her phone, I just left my stuff there so she could go through my stuff. And then it's like, you can go through my stuff and you can know that I don't have your phone, but I'm not having this conversation with you right now. And so I went in the weed store, and because my phone wasn't working, it was dead at the time, I asked to call the police. I'm like, I feel like I've just been threatened with a vehicle. I need to call the police. And then as I called the police, I kind of stepped back a little bit, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to get her like arrested. She didn't mean well when she was picking me up. She's just going through her own shit. And so basically I said, I did feel threatened, but now that I'm standing here reevaluating the situation, she's not like circling the area or anything. She's gone. I'm pretty sure the conflict is over, but I just want to get on the phone in case things escalated, basically. And so it was like, all right, I did, the cops pulled up, and I did talk to them a little bit. Actually, I was hanging out with the homeless guy in the parking lot there and chatting with him about Batman, actually, about the comic The Dark Knight, and had a real good conversation with him. But when the cops rolled up, he started picking up his fire that he had, and he was like throwing the coals away with his bare hands. And I'm like, whoa, because the cops will bust him for having a fire, and I understand that. And so I just went and talked to the cops so they could deal with me and not pay attention to the homeless guy. And I wanted to talk to the cops after what had happened. It turns out they were just there, I believe, just for coincidence sake. I don't think they were really thinking this was a major like incident that had happened, but they were nearby, and so they stopped by. And I appreciated that. And yeah, that was... Now the journey had reset again. And so I always forget how many attempts it takes until I go through the story myself. And so that was the third attempt. So we then started the fourth. This is all still the first walk, but we're on the fourth attempt of the first walk. And so, okay, we started again. And I got to the Wembley Museum where I had gotten last time. And I kind of hoped she would have been there, because I kind of wanted to talk to her, because I felt like we really had a bad, like things ended on a bad note. But it was also maybe good that I didn't run into her, because I don't know how bad things can get sometimes, you know? You just never know. And so it was now my fourth attempt on my first walk to Beaver Lodge, and I made it all the way to... I actually, first I got lost because I took a side road that I thought went back to the main road, and I got stuck on the side road for way too long, and so I kind of got lost, but I made it back onto the road, and then I made it to the Wembley Museum again, and it was the middle of the night, and it was raining, and I was kind of losing motivation, but it's kind of nice not having someone to help you sometimes, because there was no going back. Like, I didn't have a phone to call anybody. I didn't have nothing. It was just the walk, and this shit was gonna happen. I like stayed out of the rain for a while, and I kind of thought about it, like, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna wait for the rain? It's like, no, I'm gonna just get cold sitting here waiting for the rain. And I realized I couldn't wait for the rain to end. I had to just do it. But I had this shoulder pad. It's made out of a hubcap, and part of it is a piece of tarp. And so I unrolled the piece of tarp, and I made that into kind of a hood that went over the hood on my sweater. And at the very least, I could keep my head dry. The rest of me was going to get wet, but my head could stay a little bit dry. And so that was it. We started going, and we continued on, and my feet hurt, my feet swelled, and eventually I realized that the shoes I had were kind of pieces of crap, and I said, well, fuck that. And I took my shoes off, and I continued on towards Beaver Lodge barefoot. And that's when we're making progress. I knew I wasn't going to let anything stop me. I was going to just keep going, and I was going to make it no matter what. At this point, I had been stopped enough to know that basically no obstacle was going to hold me back, short of like an injury or something physically stopping me. And so I had not a lot of supplies. It was I had supplies when I made the first attempt, but every time I came back and went back, I would be lower and lower on supplies. And so at this point, I had no supplies. I had nothing, no food. And I still have to get to, I have an A&W gift card on me. That's all I had on me. And I'm like, once I get to Beaver Lodge, I can use this A&W gift card, but I have to get to Beaver Lodge. And so I'm walking barefoot, and I'm just thinking about this fucking burger that I'm going to have. I'm going to love this burger more than any burger I've ever had. But I'm realizing I need calories. I need anything. I need salt or sugar or fucking anything. And so I start looking in the ditch for discarded fast food stuff. I'm not looking for a burger, French fries, or anything. I'm looking for sauce packets. I'm like, I could find me some sauce packets, and I did. I found some sweet and sour sauce, and that sustenance sustained me all the way to Beaver Lodge. Those were the best sauce packets you'll ever eat on the side of the road, I tell you. I am thankful for discarded sauce packets, I tell you that. But I make it to A&W in Beaver Lodge there, and I realize, oh shit, I can't walk inside the restaurant because I don't have shoes. And so I'm like, okay, there's people going in and out. I'm not begging for food. I just need someone to take my card and go buy me a Buddy Burger. But the thing is getting people's attention, you know, like, I look pretty rough after 4 attempts getting to Beaver Lodge, and they're just thinking, oh, crazy homeless guy, whatever. And so I'm like, excuse me, and they're like kind of ignoring. First, the person wasn't going in A&W. They were actually going to the place next door, and I'm like, oh, that's all right. And then this old trucker was going into A&W, and I'm like, excuse me, sir. I'm doing a walk to raise awareness for suicide prevention, and I was just starting my spiel, and he's like, I don't care. And that just pissed me off. I was like, you know what? I don't need a fucking burger. I'll walk back to fucking Grand Prairie with no food in my belly. Fuck you. Like, I didn't say that, but I basically said, I know you don't care. That's the problem with everybody. Nobody gives a shit. And then people are wondering why we're all at each other's throat and we're all just slowly fading away. I was blowing up. I was emotional. I had been through a couple things, but I just didn't. Just those words, I don't care, really get under my skin sometimes. But I walked to the Beaver Lodge statue, and I'm like, okay, because the thing was, since I was out of the hospital, I was still wearing the hospital bracelet. I didn't really feel like I had escaped the hospital until I put that bracelet in the planter by the world's biggest beaver. And so that's what I did. I went and took my bracelet off, and I actually got them to put it on my ankle in the hospital, because it's a shackle. But I don't think they appreciated the symbolism. But I put that I put my name tag from the hospital in the planter of the world's biggest beaver, besides the world's biggest beaver. And that was like, I did it. I actually made it. Like, it's done. And I was so happy from completing the mission that I was like, yeah, no, I am going to just walk, because I'm not going to be disappointed by some person telling me no, they're not going to like help me get a burger by just using my card. Whatever, I'm just gonna walk. I'm like, fuck it. And then I was like, oh wait, there's a drive-through. Holy shit, how did I forget that? And so, sorry, I just stop talking sometimes when I see we got no viewers. I just like take a moment. I'm like, doo-doo. Sometimes maybe I'll just wait until somebody comes back and then I'll finish telling the story. I should just keep telling the story. Doo-doo. It's all good. I understand that I've been rambling for a while. But yeah, no, I do want to re-emphasize for people re-watching this as an upload rather than live. I am very serious about the tattoo thing. So if you have a lost loved one or just a little something you would like marked down, like your name or your lost loved one's name, Captain Canada, if you have a name of a loved one that you want tattooed on Captain Canada, you just leave it in the comment section, and I'll get right on that. I am actually behind on one of my tattoos. I started, I'll show you right here. Where is it? Right here, just under Jason. You see that little mark there? Right underneath Jason is the beginnings of an A right there. That is the last submission I was given. I need to put the name Amy on me. But I just started that tattoo, or I've started it and then I haven't gotten back to it. I started it a long time ago, and I really shouldn't be delaying such an important mission, you know. Because somebody gave me that name, and it was, I believe, their wife that had committed suicide, and the least I can do is follow through and actually finish tattooing her name. But yeah, that little mark there, that's an A for Amy there. I was actually given that submission while I was in the hospital from another person in the hospital. But yeah, anyways, after I finally got to the world's biggest beaver, I put my name tag in the planter, and then I realized, hey, A&W has a drive-through. I don't have to, my bare feet aren't a problem. I can just go to the drive-through. But by the time I got there, I guess people kind of noticed that I blew up at that guy at the A&W because he's like, I don't care. And I'm like, yeah, I know you don't care. Oh, really? That's cool. The Schofield kid says, I've actually worked in quite a few tattoo shops. I still build my own machines. That's cool. Do you buy the parts for the machines online, like the actual like factory made sets, or do you do like prison tattoo guns? Because in my younger years we made a lot of prison tattoo guns that used like they were supposed to use guitar wire as the needle, and you have a little electric motor attached to a toothbrush, and then for the gear of the wheel, or the gear of the, I don't even know what word I'm looking for, not the gear, basically what attaches to the top of the motor that the needle sits on and spins on, that was just a pencil eraser. like, it was some serious rough stuff. Oh, no traditional? Okay. That's all good too. That's all good too. But anyways, I got back to the A&W, and after they seen that I had that confrontation with that trucker, and I guess because I had gotten a decent amount of attention, first walk, armature bar. Oh yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I think I'm talking about the armature bar. That might have actually been the toothbrush I was talking about, because it kind of connects, like, wait. It's like, how the hell do I do this? I'm trying to make a shape with my finger. Is like the needle would sit on top like this and go back and forth, and the motor would be right here, and this would be like the little arm. That's how we made tattoo guns back in the day. But anyways, after I had got to the Beaver and Beaver Lodge there, and I made it back to the A&W, they gave me a free burger. And it was like a buddy burger. They asked me what I wanted, and I just a buddy burger. And because she had heard that I was having trouble there, and they didn't charge me or anything. She comes out with a buddy burger that is just completely like all the toppings, like just as much toppings as you could possibly fit on a tiny little burger. And it was the most delicious fucking buddy burger, the most satisfying, victorious buddy burger anyone has ever eaten, I tell you. It was the universe's greatest burger. But to appreciate the universe's biggest burger, you need to season it with 4 attempts to Beaver Lodge and all the fucking obstacles that come in the way. And she also gave me a root beer, but she gave me like a coffee, like the top from a coffee cup, so I could like sip it and walk. And then as I was rolling into town, some people are like, hey, I wasn't Captain Can at the time, but they're like, hey, how's it going? Is there anything you need? And I'm like, you know what? I could really go for a Red Bull right about now. And so they got me a Red Bull, and I think they got me some Timbits or something, and I loved it. It was glorious. I just devoured that shit. And I needed the calories because that sauce packet only got me so far, kind of thing. And it was great. It was really great. I did have a bad interaction with police as I was leaving town, which was completely me just not having a good attitude at that point. It was just because I had been stopped so many times, and there had just been so many obstacles that my good, like, because I had trained myself to just be nice to the police, to not feel like they were a burden or anything on me. But the police rolled up. Basically, I was just rolling out of town, and one of the things I had brought with me was a portable DVD player. And I was going to sit down and watch me some cartoons on my portable DVD player. And basically what ended up happening was the cops pulled up just as soon as I'm sitting down to watch this. And so I was a little peed off just because I just wanted this moment, but that's fine. Whatever, I'll talk to you guys. But basically I got telling them my story about how my best friend committed suicide, and I told them a little bit about the walk and everything like that and what had happened to me. And they wanted me to refresh the details a little bit because it was a complicated story. And they're like, so it was your brother that committed suicide? And I was like, no. And I didn't clarify at all. I just was upset that they hadn't listened the first time. And honestly, that was just me being overly sensitive. That wasn't reasonable. And so I basically just asked them, like, can I go? Like, am I allowed to leave? Which I had never done with any of the police interactions before. I was just done talking with them, and I was ready to start walking again because I had felt the motivation. But as I walked away, I said, stay the fuck out of my way. And I just started walking. And they're like, we're just trying to help. And I said, you are failing. And there was no reason why I had to say that. I was just in a real shitty mood at that point. And I had gone from seeing the authorities as someone I just talked to on the road and I was glad to catch up with them, to, oh boy, are you going to haul me away again? Are you going to make my life worse again? That's all I could think on that interaction. And I've never had interactions with the police like that before or after. That was my worst interaction with the police, and I regret it because I have a lot of experience with the Grand Prairie RCMP and a little bit of experience with the new Grand Prairie Police. But that was one of my few interactions with the Beaver Lodge Police, and that probably colored their perception of me for a long time. And so I really, even though I can say I had my reasons for being a little perturbed and I've been a little worn down by 4 attempts to get to Beaver Lodge, they didn't deserve that. So if somehow those officers are watching or somebody who knows them, please let them know that I'm very sorry for the way I talked to them. They were just curious about what I was doing, and all they wanted was a little bit of clarification on my long, complicated story, and I should have given them that. That was not unreasonable, and it wasn't rude of them to miss a detail in a very long story. It's just when it's a story that's so personally close to me, I just got a little perturbed when I felt they weren't listening. But that's okay. No one's obligated to listen. No one's obligated to give a shit, you know? Like, some people have had a hard day before they've got to where they're at, and you just gotta appreciate that before any asshole that got to you gives you shit or gives you a hard time, they have been living an entire life before that moment, and a lot of stuff has probably happened. It doesn't justify people being dickheads. It doesn't justify me being a dickhead to the police just because I was a little bit worn out. But anyways, after that, I walked the rest of the way with no shoes on, and it was a good walk. I didn't have like a load of supplies or anything like that, but that was okay. It was just, now that the obstacles weren't coming anymore, it was just reasonable, you know. And, it was sure satisfying when I got back to Grand Prairie, and here's this weird thing that I found out about my feet. You think that you can, you can. What I was doing was walking in the watery parts of the ditch and the muddy parts of the ditch to kind of give my feet a little break, a little mud bath and stuff. But the problem that I discovered with wetting your feet is eventually all the oils wash out of your feet. Eventually your feet just become kind of like paper, and when they dry off again, it feels like your skin is about paper thin, and it's real painful. And so when I got back into Grand Prairie, I was feeling every tiny little step, because I didn't have anybody assisting me at the time or anything. There was nobody to pick me up when I got to the edge of Grand Prairie. It was, you got to Grand Prairie, now you get to walk back to your mom's house. And so that's what I did. I walked through town. It was the middle of the night, and or was it let me think about this. No, that time it wasn't the night. That the first time I came back, it was daytime when I was coming back. Yeah, and so that's the real long, brutal the first walk for lost loved ones. The name is very true, because I did. I lost my loved ones because I realized that I couldn't continue doing what I was doing and also have my pets. Not because I felt they were at threat by what I was doing, but because the image had changed so much of how people perceived me, that I was actually kind of worried that the public was going to endanger me or my pets or try to steal them from me. Or I would just keep getting picked up. Like the peace officers or RCMP or my dad would just continue using whatever odd ends to ruin my life over and over again. And I couldn't reunite with my dogs again, just to have them be taken, just to have myself be taken from them again and again. I couldn't do that, and so I had to leave them. I had to leave them in the pound, and I can't explain to you how much I hate myself for that, but at the same time, I replay the situation over and over again, and that was my option, you know? Like, I could have given my aunt to take care of, but she didn't have the resources to take care of my dogs, and I honestly didn't know if I could trust her. And so I can't. My oldest dog, Buddy, I had for 15 years. I had him as long as I worked at that goddamn job. And my other dogs were, well, my female I had, Pomeranian Papillon, she was Ruby. And she was my little gem. And she had given me 3 litters of puppies, and then she wasn't supposed to get pregnant the third time. There was only supposed to be the first 2 litters. And so we got her fixed. And from that, from her 3rd litter, I got my other dog, which was also the son of my other dog, Finn. And Finn is a Jack Russell Shih Tzu, and he's a durable, beautiful dog. He's all muscle. I used to say he's made of Teflon and studded titanium. He's fucking indestructible. It's ridiculous. I watched that dog run into solid concrete and was completely fine. It's like, no, I'm not joking. Like, that dog was durable. And his son, Stilts, was Pomeranian Papillon Jack Russell Shih Tzu. And he was a beautiful, beautiful little dog. And we were, like, happy together. You know, like, some people say 4 dogs is too many, but they were little dogs. And that was my life. I didn't have, like, a lot of other stuff that I did with my time. I was with my pets, and they were my life. And so, giving up my dogs, like, if you ever need to ask, how far is Captain Canada willing to go? What did Captain Canada sacrifice in order to be Captain Canada? I'll tell you what I fucking sacrificed. Everything. They were everything to me. They were my whole world. I didn't give a shit about my house or my job. I cared about my dogs. I still do. I still wonder if they're taken care of, if they're happy, if they're even alive. And so I put posts out there on Facebook begging to hopefully be in contact with the people who now own them. But I probably will never see them again. Yeah, you know, is it Infinity War? Which Avengers movie am I thinking of here? The one where Thanos snaps everybody at the end. Snaps half the world away. Half the universe away. And at the end, he's confronted by this weird spirit version of his daughter, Gamora. And he's asked a simple question. What did it cost? Cost everything. I hope that no other real-life superhero has to go through the same shit that I went through. I hope no human being has to go through the shit that I went through, or the shit that I will go through. Because I will continue to go through the shit. I will continue to be a real-life superhero who isn't respected by his family, and my previous friends are out there telling people that I have snapped. I will continue down this path because it's worth it. As much as it hurts so much, I want to think that it's worth it somehow. The only part that I can't say is worth it is losing my dogs. That's like, I don't wish that on anyone. Do whatever you can to protect your family, to provide for your family, and fight for your family. I wish I had fought harder. I wish I had begged people for resources, so maybe I would have been able to take care of my animals, but I know people would only have turned that against me too, and would have said that I'm using them as a tool to get attention or whatever, and I didn't want that. Even if you can argue that it was somewhat true, you know, when my first original walk might have been so successful because I had my pets with me. Because we were all in this together. We were a big, happy family. We weren't just some guy doing a difficult stunt. I was a guy doing a difficult stunt and providing for my family at the same time, and it was beautiful. And now I'm kind of alone, you know, and that's okay. I'm not completely alone. I shouldn't be too dramatic. I mean, I have a fiance, and that ain't nothing. That's a big step forward in my life, you know? But I'll never not miss my dogs. And as much as I believe it was my only choice, and I want to believe that it was all worth it, it would be so much more worth it if I just knew they were safe. If the people who owned them would just let me know they were safe. I would love to be able to see them again. That would be my greatest wish, but a wish that an even greater wish is to just know that they're safe. But that's my fault. By not going back for them, maybe that's me giving up any right to be able to care, you know? I might have been covering the microphone for a second there. But yeah. But that's just it, though, is, like I said, I don't want any other real-life superheroes to have to go through the same bullshit that I went through, because though I say see the symbol, be the symbol, I don't think that really sums up how difficult it is to comprehend what a symbol every person is. Like, it's not just a guy wearing a cape, it's a guy mowing his lawn, you know? Like, you are a symbol of the average man. You are the average man, and that is a glorious symbol. And there's nothing average about average. When you're not amazing, you are amazing. You're all amazing. Everybody's amazing in their own way. I just want to show people that I appreciate them. I want to show people that I'm willing to do anything to show them that they are appreciated. Anything except harm myself. I'm not out to harm myself. In losing my dogs was the most I'm willing to harm myself. And I'm not really wasn't really willing. I didn't have a choice. Yeah, but this is kind of gloomy, and so I want to go back to the beginning of this, when I was talking about the beginning of Captain Canada, or whatever I was at the time. I was working at the Prairie Mall, and I would wear my titanium armor underneath my clothes. I wasn't wearing a cape at the time, but anywhere I was at any time, I was always wearing my titanium under my clothes. It was a titanium composite. It had other materials in it that I don't want to bring up what they were, because no reason. But there was titanium. That's all you need to know. And I felt safe wearing that. But even though I was wearing the titanium armor, I wasn't getting into circumstances. I wasn't jumping into scenarios. I was just protecting myself. And the thing is, when I was at the Prairie Mall working, we actually had a shooter in the mall. I didn't know at the time. I was in the back halls, like not the public area of the mall, but like the staff area of the mall. And yeah, somebody just basically on the next hallway over was shooting at people, and there was nothing I could do. But at the same time, there was just so many things that were so stupid about the whole situation. Like, the whole mall was on lockdown, and people were being told to get out, and or no, the mall was on lockdown. No, we evacuated. First it was on lockdown, but then we didn't evacuate. I can't remember the order of events. I'm trying to remember now, because we have different order of events for fires and for shooting. I think in other instances we had locked down the mall, but I think in that instance they decided to evacuate the mall. But the thing was, all the stores were closing down, and all the staff was evacuating, but nobody told the janitors. The janitors were just continuing doing their job like nothing had happened. And I was the one who had to tell them, just so you know, there was a shooter in the mall, and we're getting the hell out of here. It's kind of goofy, you know? But it made me realize that I wasn't stupid for, like, I feel stupid now because I don't wear the body armor ever now. Oh yeah, that was something that I left out of my story about the first walk to Beaver Lodge and back. When my dad got me brought in for evaluation and people tore apart my cart and stole all my stuff, my titanium armor was part of that stuff. And I spent years tinkering with that, making sure it felt just right. It was a big front plate, super, super thick, ridiculous thick, and a back plate that was actually made of Russian Spetsnaz titanium, fancy military grade stuff. A beautiful, I called her my Mangelstein, because it's like Frankenstein, but it's made to take the damage. Mangelstein. I miss it so much. But now I call myself going naked, you know? I used to call it going naked anytime I didn't have my body armor on, but now I don't have it at all. And so I'm always going without protection. You know, I'm never wearing my titanium armor anymore, and I would like to rebuild it so I could be more effective, because the whole thing is, I don't want to wear body armor just so I don't get shot. If I jump in front of a bullet for somebody else, if I'm not wearing body armor, that bullet can just go right through me, and it doesn't matter that I jumped in front of it, you know? Then two people get shot. That just sucks. But yeah, it's I'm just gonna stop in Dollarama here and see. I think I have enough on my card to get another can of pop, so I'm gonna find out. Maybe my debit won't go through. We'll find out, but I think I got 75 cents on there. So yeah, let's take a stroll through the Dollarama. Okay, I'm just gonna shut the camera off for a second, but I'll keep the audio going. Going to the big Dollarama. We got a couple, like 3 in town. This is probably one of the best ones. Went with Dr. Pepper yesterday. I think I'm gonna go with Pepsi today. It's pretty much either that or ginger ale, and I would prefer something with caffeine. Oh, it's a really nice day today. Every day seems like it's going to rain, and then it doesn't. And Dollarama has the best automatic tills. Like, you just dump a pile of change into those things, it works no problem. It's great.
Welcome. Please scan your first item. 63 cents. 10 cents. Insert cash or select payment type.
Debit. Saving, checking. Cross your fingers. I think it'll go through. Yes, it went through. Cool.
Please take your receipt. Thank you for shopping at Dollarama.
Alrighty. Oh yeah, I got my glasses off. Let me just get the shades back on so I'm in full Captain gear. There we go. Alrighty, I'm gonna just, I hate walking with the soda because all it's doing is just getting flat as you go. It's just so much better to just drink it and then go, I think. In my opinion, it's just better. Hey, Schofield kid, if you're still there, what kind of ink do you use for your tattooing? Do you get the proper tattoo ink and everything? Because I substitute the proper stuff with like calligraphy ink, or not calligraphy ink. Oh, what is it called? You get it at Michael's. India ink. That's what I'm talking about. Ooh, maybe I should walk with this can. Then I don't have to chug it. But I got a phone in one hand, drinking my other. I hate having both hands full. Especially when people honk at me, you know? I want to be able to wave at people. Only one person honked at me today, and that's all right. You know, I don't have to get love from people every day, but I do sure appreciate it when I do. It's just gives you a boost, you know. But yeah, I think this has mostly been a good live stream so far there. I think we'll probably wrap it up right around the 2-hour mark here, so we'll go on for another 15 minutes or so. But I think it was a pretty good stream. I wanted to tell the stories of how I first started doing my walks for lost loved ones, and a little bit of how I got into the real life superhero thing. What I didn't mention is who my big inspirations were. I would say it's primarily a real life superhero named Thanatos, and the most well-known real-life superhero, Phoenix Jones, where there have been others like Master Legend, who is also a huge inspiration. I just was really, like many people, were drawn to Phoenix Jones because of his mass media appeal and his his 100% effort to being real deal, no bullshit, you know? Even if he may have made a lot of mistakes, he still has... He's transformed the face of real-life superheroes. And I think he deserves credit for that. As much as nowadays he's kind of just a cautionary tale in the real-life superhero community, I want to remember the feeling of inspiration that Phoenix Jones gave me, and he still gives me. Even though he's not out there anymore, I think it's pretty cool that there was a real MMA fighter out there doing the real-life superhero thing, even though he ended up getting in trouble for a lot of things. And some of it when he was being a real-life superhero, some of it came after. But I think Phoenix Jones is always really cool. I kind of look at the mother and father of real-life superheroes as Master Legend and Phoenix Jones. There's our daddy, Master Legend. He's always reliable and he's always fighting evildoers. And then there's one bad mother, and that is Phoenix Jones. And he deserves credit. He's awesome. But like I said, Thanatos was a big inspiration to me. He was out of Vancouver, and just the fact that there was somebody in Canada doing the real life superhero thing was like a big eye-opener for me, because I think it's kind of expected to be an American thing for some reason, even though the argument of whether Superman is Canadian or American will continue forever and ever. I mentioned the Our Heritage commercials the other day that show like parts of Canadian history. There is an Our Heritage commercial about Superman, about how parts of the original concept were Canadian, or from Canadian mines, and I don't even know how that fits into the Joe Shuster, what's his name? The two guys that created Superman. I don't know if that Heritage commercial was the backstory for one of them. But, yeah. Sorry, I wanted to chug this soda, but now I'm just kind of taking my time with it. I just feel a little uncomfortable doing my rants. I'm just at the entrance of Dollarama, and it's just, I feel so much more comfortable when I'm like on a walking path or something. But I'm trying to stay close to this garbage can so I can throw away my can of Pepsi when I finish it. Unfortunately, there's no recycle bin around here. Mike Jones. Oh, Mike Jones. Was he the other creator other than Joe Shuster? But yeah, it's got some here. Let me show you the clouds here, and you could guess whether you think it's gonna rain or not. What do you think? Is that gonna be rain? Kind of looks like it. Sure looks like rain to me. But it's been looking like that for a long time, and it hasn't been happening, so I'm a little weary. I remember you used to be able to smell the rain, or at least I could. Maybe that's me losing my sense of smell more than anything. You used to be able to smell the rain before it came, and it used to have that specific smell after it rained. And I feel like that's just not a thing anymore, and it might be me rather than something changing with the rain. Would make more sense, I think. Oh yeah, there's the Cineplex over there. That's pretty well our only movie theater in town now. We used to have like 3. There used to be the Cineplex. There used to be one downtown right across from the co-op. And there used to be one in the Prairie Mall. But the 2 smaller ones, they shut down. And now the Cineplex is the only game in town as far as big screen movies go. Does anybody else think that only in theater sounds really desperate? It's like, don't try to stream this. Don't try to get this online or black market it. Only in theaters. And it's like, it's not going to be in theaters for long. It's not only going to stay in theaters. It's not like it's only ever going to be in theaters. It's not false advertising. For a time, it was only in theaters. Somebody's having fun. Yeah. No, I've been doing pretty good budgeting and everything. I think it was a good investment. A couple days ago, I bought a roasted chicken, and I'm slowly just kind of picking away at that till payday, and it's going pretty good. I did kind of make a financial boo-boo today. I bought 2 Red Bull that I really shouldn't have. I should have saved that money for like sardines and ramen noodles or something. But that Red Bull, it just hits the spot, you know? Yeah, that just means it's going straight to DVD. Yeah. You are right about that. I feel like, are we going to see the end of the DVD? Are we in that era right now where it's like we're transitioning all the way to the digital stuff, all the streaming and things like that? Because I like DVDs, you know, and they're supposed to last a really long time, as long as you don't scratch the crap out of them anyways. That's what I think was really should be appreciated about Blu-rays, is those things are hard to scratch. I feel like Blu-rays just never got the love the DVDs got. DVDs and VHS, they're like this loved format, and Blu-rays are just kind of, I had to get it on Blu-ray because I have a Blu-ray player kind of thing. Like, I've never really felt blown away by Blu-ray quality. Actually, I got a Blu-ray of The Dark Knight Returns. That's the animated one. And basically, The Dark Knight Returns, they tried to replace DVD with Blu-ray, but it just, I don't know. I think it's because Blu-rays are so fucking expensive is the main reason why they didn't catch on quite as well. The Blu-ray players and the Blu-rays themselves are way too expensive. What they should have did is just try to design a Blu-ray that works in a regular DVD player, and then maybe people would justify the little bit higher cost because they could, you know, buy a movie without having to buy this expensive-ass Blu-ray player. Oh, remember HD DVDs? That was a short-lived thing. I remember when we thought HD DVDs were going to be the next big thing, but then I think Blu-rays kind of knocked HD DVDs out of the running. And it does kind of roll off the tongue, but it still is awkward to say HD DVD. Where Blu-ray, yeah, that's reasonable. And you know, Blu-rays weren't so bad because you could get yourself a PS3 and have yourself a good game system and also have a quality Blu-ray player. But yeah, I'm trying to think what my favorite format would be. I really like VHS. There's just something about that chunky tape, you know? Like, it has its problems and eventually they wear out. But it's just like a nice cartridge, you know, and you can kind of tell, after a while, you can kind of tell how long a movie is just by looking at the reel of tape, where at first it's like, I don't know how long that is, you got to read the little thing. Oh, I remember Schofield Kid says, I remember Laserdisc. They say, I'm old. Well, it's hard not to feel old. And honestly, I used to have a big Xenomorph collection back when it wasn't called Xenomorphs, unless you were reading the comic books. It was only Xenomorphs in the comic books. But I tried to get all the formats of the movies, and the one format I hadn't gotten to was what's it called? Laserdisc. I wanted to get Alien, and I think. I think shit happens. I think because of when the Alien movies came out, I don't think all of them were available on Laserdisc. I think you could get Alien and Aliens on Laserdisc, but I don't think you could get Alien 3. I think that's where it cut off. But I know at one point in time I was pricing out copies of Alien on Laserdisc. And the only reason I didn't get it was because I didn't have a Laserdisc player. And I like to watch my collectibles. I like to see the difference between the VHS and the DVD. And I will say, if you're talking the movie Alien, the original VHS, the Fox VHS, is better quality than the DVDs. There are a lot of remasters of Alien specifically, because there's the director's cut, and then there's that like 25th, or whatever. It wasn't the 25th anniversary. It was like 50th or something like that. But there's a couple different versions of the original Alien, but none of them really look as good as the just original VHS. That's just a nice quality copy, and it's just something about the way they copied it and transferred it that it just looks worse the more they bring it to DVD and Blu-ray and stuff like that. Oh, and the director's cut for Alien is not the director's cut. The original cut of Alien is the director's cut. That's the way he intended it. The director's cut of Alien is just an extended version with all the deleted scenes added back in. And yeah, it's not the director's cut. But oddly enough, the special edition of Aliens, James Cameron's Aliens, that is it shouldn't be called Aliens Special Edition. That should be called Aliens Director's Cut, because all the cut footage and stuff that was put back in the special edition, James Cameron wanted that footage in there. That was all necessary. Like an extra hour, basically, got cut out of Aliens. And I honestly think I prefer the shorter cut, because I don't think that the deleted scenes and everything like add a whole bunch. You get to see a little bit more of like Newt's backstory and what happened to her family and all that. But Aliens is just a really good solid movie the way it was. The one thing I like to always point out about Aliens is there is a mistake when Ripley is fighting the Queen in like the airlock, and her power loader gets pulled down into the airlock, like onto the Queen and everything. The Queen at one point when she's in the airlock, the Queen's tail is flailing around, and for some reason the Queen's tail is missing its tip. In that scene of the alien Queen with his tail flailing around, it's just the tail without the pointy tip. And my theory is it was a safety thing, that they couldn't have a big impaling weapon flailing around Sigourney Weaver, because that actually might have like fucking killed her. And so I think it's actually kind of reasonable that they removed the pointy bit. But I also think with all technology and everything, it would be nice to see a remastered version where maybe they digitally fix that, you know, even though it might be cheating like George Lucas. But the detail has always bugged me, that the tail was kind of fucked up. But yeah, no, I just wanted to yammer on a little bit about movies for a while, because I can talk about the Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, Alien vs. Predator, what people would now call the Xenomorph series. I can talk about that forever. I haven't fallen out of love with the series, but I'm not as diehard of a fan as I used to be. Like I did, like when Alien Romulus came out, I kind of just, I wasn't excited to see it, only because for years we had been waiting for like Alien 5 and all these other sequels to Prometheus and stuff that turned into way worse sequels that weren't anywhere near what they were supposed to be originally. I kind of started falling out of love with the Alien franchise right around Prometheus. Prometheus, I'm not going to say Prometheus is bad. Prometheus was pretty good. And it's a good movie all by itself. I think it's a better movie by itself than trying to fit it into the Alien franchise. I think Prometheus by itself is great. I think Alien Covenant that came after Prometheus was a much, much worse movie. And it just did really stupid things. Like, you follow along with Elizabeth Shaw in Prometheus. And I'm going to be honest, Elizabeth Shaw is my least favorite thing about Prometheus. I feel that Ridley Scott was infatuated with the actor that played Elizabeth Shaw. And he just wanted to make a movie about Shaw in Prometheus. They did not use Giger for Prometheus. They used some of his concept art for the original Alien, and I think actually some of his stuff from Dune. But for the most part, if you watch the special features for Prometheus, H.R. Giger is actually in the special features. They brought him in to take a look at all the art and stuff for Prometheus, and he like kind of looked at it and was like, yeah, that's kind of cool. But you can tell the difference in quality just with the movie monster itself. Like they wanted to try to do the same thing as Giger, but it just it isn't it's supposed to be the same DNA basically, and that's the thing that I have a really hard time comprehending. You know, no way, you met my favorite artist? You met the guy whose name is tattooed on my shoulder? You met H.R. freaking Giger? Really? Like, that blows my freaking mind right now. No, and that's just it. Schofield Kid is saying it doesn't have the same raw ASM or realism is somebody physically carving and sculpting everything. No, that's why the original Alien and Aliens are some of the best stuff. Specifically emphasizing Alien because that had the most Giger just working hands-on with stuff. And yes, sculpting things and airbrushing things. I like AI art, but Giger can do stuff that AI can't do. Really? Germany, 2006? Well, lucky you. Lucky you. I am very jealous. Hans Rudy Giger is my favorite artist, and I was pretty broken up when he died there. I still feel like I need to do a proper tribute for the master of making monsters. What was I was saying something about Prometheus, and I can't remember where I was going with that. It was that's what I was saying. My problem with Prometheus is less all the alien artwork and things like that. It's I really just dislike Elizabeth Shaw. I find she's just kind of hard to watch. But I was also really annoyed that they killed her off for the sequel, because it's like they set up this character's story and journey and everything, and at the end of Prometheus it was like, we're just getting started, you know, we're going to go to their world and figure out some stuff about her. And then it was like, this is why I say Ridley Scott was like overly infatuated with Elizabeth Shaw, because I feel like when Alien Covenant came around, he got over that and he didn't give a shit about Elizabeth Shaw anymore, and he kills her off, and it's like, I didn't like the character, but I wasn't at all happy with her just being killed off screen. And then it turns out that David basically like mutilated her and stuff. It's actually really fucking gross when you consider Alien, the concept of the alien was made to be an equal opportunity sexual assaulter. It wasn't supposed to just threaten females. It was threatening men and women and everybody. And so it was like a gender neutral thing where now it's like a destruction of woman symbol, and I don't like that. They did that in AVP R2, where the pred alien would impregnate women, specifically impregnate women, and it's like, why did they change it that way? Like, it used to be a thing that went after men and women, and now she's a handsome woman. I think Ridley Scott really thought she was a handsome woman, I tell you. Because if you don't believe me that Ridley Scott was like goo goo gaga for Elizabeth Shaw, I want you to go to the special features of Prometheus and just look up the amount of alternate costumes they had for Elizabeth Shaw. And I guarantee you, not 10% of those were ever actually considered to be her outfit. But somebody, I don't want to name names, somebody just wanted to see her dress up in a bunch of different outfits. That's what I got from so much of the special features. There's even this part in the special features where, you know, when she is having the squid burster, you know, like their version of the chest burster in Prometheus, and her belly's like going up and down and like it's going all crazy and stuff. Ridley Scott basically told the story why he knew that she could do that was basically she's showing him what she can do with his stomach and all this weird shit she can do. And all I'm thinking is, like, at what point was the director and an actor hanging out together and she's like, hey, check out my belly, you're like, look what I can do. like maybe they're just bros and it was just like a funny moment or whatever, but it kind of had me raising some eyebrows. It's like, when exactly were you looking at her stomach? Like, that's kind of weird. And the thing I really hate about Alien Covenant is David should have stayed ahead. The best thing about Prometheus, the coolest, most awesome thing about Prometheus, is when the old man goes up to the engineer and wants to get the answers of the universe. You know, he wants to figure out how to be immortal and all that shit. And the engineer takes a look at David and takes a look at him. And he fucking ripped, like, first it's like this moment of the creator, like, touching me. Oh my god. And then he rips off David's head and he fucking smashes old man Wayland with the head. And it's it's so awesome. And then they go and ruin it by having in the sequel the doctor scientist, Elizabeth Shaw, who is a doctor of all things, apparently. She's able to perfectly repair David to the point that he's so functional he can fucking murder her. Why would she repair David? Doesn't make a whole lot of fucking sense. How? Ooh, yeah, fair enough. I don't even need a reason. Schofield Kids said they should have made him look more like David Bowie. Yeah, why the hell not? Honestly, I think what they should have made him look like was fucking Lance Henriksen. Why wasn't Lance Henriksen playing Old Man Wayland? We had established, not just in Aliens, that Lance Henriksen is what a Wayland looked like, but we also even had Alien vs. Predator got that shit right. And I will argue that Aliens vs. Predator is actually a better movie than Prometheus. Because everyone's always giving shit to Aliens vs. Predator. But Aliens vs. Predator does not have that fucking scene where they're running from the spaceship. Like the Prometheus School of Running joke, where everyone just makes fun of it for being the stupidest thing ever. They just run in a straight line from the spaceship, when all they would have to do is go left, go right, like do anything but what you're doing right now. The only way they could have did worse is if they were running towards the fucking spaceship. But there's also another scene that I think is incredibly stupid in Prometheus. There's basically the same scene in Alien vs. Predator that also happened in Prometheus. And this is what happens. You have strong female lead and another character with a gun. In Alien vs. Predator, she basically says, you know, I've been doing this mountain climbing thing for a long time, or ice climbing or whatever, and I've never seen a gun save anybody. And what does she say? What does Alien vs. Predator, Concrete Jungle. I will correct you. It is Predator Concrete Jungle, but I will accept the name Alien vs. Predator Concrete Jungle because, yes, there are aliens in that game. It is an Alien vs. Predator game. It just is mostly a Predator game, but you do get aliens in the later part of the game. That is a fantastic storyline. It is also, at the time, was supposed to be a prequel, much in the same way that AVP was a prequel, because Predator Concrete Jungle was supposed to be where basically at the end of Predator Concrete Jungle, the Weyland Company combines with the Yutani Company, and that's how Weyland-Yutani comes into being. I think other sequels of Prometheus have since forgotten about that. And Prometheus is basically saying that, no, Weyland Corp was much farther in the future. It wasn't founded back in the day. But Predator Concrete Jungle is a really, really solid story. But I do like the idea of the android looking like David Bowie. Not even because it would make sense, just because we all need more David Bowie. Oh, the one with Danny Glover, that was Predator 2. That was Predator 2. That's a really good movie too. And it kind of that's the one that really establishes that the Predators have been doing this shit for a long time. Because at the end, that's the one where he throws Danny Glover the pirate gun. So he's like, whoa, like, you've been doing this shit for a long time. But Predator Concrete Jungle really plays with that whole timeline thing too. Because you're fighting like old-timey gangsters. And it's actually the son of one of the gangsters that becomes like the main antagonist of the Predator. He got Predator blood on him when he was a sickly child, and it like saved his life. But he then uses Predator DNA to like upgrade himself, and he's the end boss of the game, is what it comes down to. He's the last guy you fight. That's a good game. That's not just like a good storyline of a game. That is also a really fun game that I would like to just replay one day. Because it's got a whole bunch of cool little secrets and stuff you can go around and find. It's a lot of fun. What's another thing about Predator 2? Oh yeah, there's a confusing thing that happens in Predator 2, where they repeat the scene that Arnold Schwarzenegger had when he first sees the Predator's face, and he's like, "You're one ugly motherfucker." And but in Predator 2, Danny Glover is looking at the unmasked Predator, and the unmasked Predator says the line before he can say it. Because he's like, "You're one ugly," and then the Predator's like, "Motherfucker." But I don't know when in that movie he learned English. That's not really like a plot hole or anything like that, but I always thought it was weird. And then they also use that line again in AVP. The main character, I can't remember her name, I hate to say, I should be able to remember that character's name. The protagonist, She calls a xenomorph an ugly motherfucker before she blows its brains out, basically. Which I think is interesting that they had an AVP movie and they had the "You are one ugly motherfucker," but it's used on an alien instead of a predator. But that's all good. I guess we're well over the 2-hour mark. We could call it quits anytime here. I'm just walking home now. I kind of dropped the ball there. I was having so much fun telling stories. I forgot to do my exercises today. But I am a master of inconsistency. That's the real muscle confusion, is work one day, no work the next day, a whole bunch of work the next day, and nothing, whole bunch, no food, lots of food. Yeah. Go with the flow. Oh yeah, and then there's all the Predator sequels. I wasn't even thinking of them. Like, yeah, I'm trying to think now. Keep thinking there is a Predator 3, but they never made Predator 3. They did make Prey, which I never saw, actually. I haven't seen Prey, but apparently it's very good. Then the most recent one was Predator Badlands. Did anybody see Predator Badlands? I saw that in theaters. It wasn't that bad, actually. It was kind of like G-rated Predator, because like there's no blood. Like, it's a Predator movie that has like no harsh gore or anything like that. And honestly, I'm okay watching a movie that's like toned down, but I could understand someone having a serious problem with the fact that okay, here's the thing. They didn't have to have the Predator like skinning people alive and like cutting heads off of human beings. But what they do have are a whole bunch of synthetics, from Alien. They're like androids, but they're full of milk, They're soft androids. But they didn't go with the soft androids. Instead, now we got other androids they're all full of sparks and shit. And it's like, that's fine for another movie franchise, but when you're in the Alien and essentially Alien vs. Predators franchise, I want to see a milk-filled fucking robot that can be ripped apart just as gruesomely as a human being. And also, you should be able to do that and not get in trouble with the censors. There was no reason why Predator Badlands couldn't have had a whole bunch of synthetics just getting torn apart in gruesome fashion. Instead, they turned them into like robots from another sci-fi franchise that are full of sparks and shit, and that's lame. It's just not the franchise. I just want is Mac 11 and Danny Glover. Oh, I like that idea. I really like that idea. I'm trying to remember what the last movie I seen Danny Glover in is. It's been a long, long time since I've seen Danny Glover in a movie. But Predator 2, that's a really good movie, and I think that game we were talking about, that was the one where he was at the end of the film with the Mac 11 was Predator. Oh, the Mac 11. I'm trying to think now. When you say Mac 11, I'm picturing Lethal Weapon when he goes around with that big machine gun. Now, if you're talking machine guns, you can't really get away from the original Predator. Like, because they have the scene in the original Predator where they cut down the forest with their machine guns, and I don't think there is a more over the top fucking shooting scene in a movie. It's a thing of beauty, really. Both Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny Glover, I think, both put up a good fight with the Predator, but when you think about it, Danny Glover was working with a hell of a lot less and really got the job done better than Arnie did. Because, like, Arnie has all his traps and before that he has, like, his giant machine gun and everything, but, hey, brother. But, Danny Glover not only does he end the Predator with its own weapon, he also gets around the thing that Arnold Schwarzenegger ran away from. Like, he just cuts that Predator's bomb off his arm, and he's good to go. Ah, yes. That was a GE minigun in... Yeah, no, that's some serious firepower. When he was taking on those gangs that were all whacked out in the warehouse, that was Predator 2. Yes, you're right. Is that the same scene where the Predator throws the disc and it, like, cuts through the meat? Or is that a different part? Oh, no, that's a different part. That's the part where they're trying to get the jump on the Predator, because they realize that it's like eating meat like eating all this frozen meat. I think that was how they caught it. Well, they didn't catch it, but that was their plan, to catch it while it was indisposed, kind of thing. I think they actually, don't they reference the first Predator in Predator 2? Don't they, doesn't Gary Busey tell Danny Glover about, the mission that happened in the jungle? And I might be mistaken about that. But yeah, no, what was I going to say there? But I think the best Predator sequel is actually, I don't know if it's the best Predator sequel, but in the newer ones. Because Predator and Predator 2 are pretty much at the top. But Predators. I thought Predators was a really good movie. And it like gives you something new, because like you're finally on like Predator planet kind of thing. Which you did get in Predator Badlands, but there's a lot to digest with the Predator movies. Because they only kind of explain things, and then every movie kind of does things differently. And in that The Predator, which I think most people consider the worst one, they even had an alternate explanation as to why they were taking spines. It was like they were getting genetic information or some shit like that. But I'm pretty sure in Predator 2 when... everybody forgets Gary Busey. But yeah, Predators was a really good movie. Not only because it was a good Predator movie, but it's also a Predator movie featuring another minigun. At least I think there's a minigun in Predators. But if you haven't seen Predators, I'll spoil the twist for you. The nerdy doctor guy who's like, I don't know why I'm here. All the rest of you guys are killers, but I'm just a doctor. Like, was it really not obvious to everyone that guy was like a serial killer? It just made sense, you know? I need to watch that movie again, actually. I'm going to see if it's on Netflix. I think Predators is the Predator movie I like rewatching the most. Because it's just got a lot of really good moments. Like at the end, that last fight, or it's not really the last fight, but the serial killer is basically saying to the main character, "Oh, you're such a good man. Thanks for helping." And he's getting ready to like pull a fast one on him, and the main character just says, I'm not that nice of a guy, but I'm fast." And he gets the, like, as he's getting the drop on him, he just outmaneuvers him because he's just a better fighter, a better killer. And so he stabs the serial killer with his poison that like paralyzes him. And then he's trying to reason with the predator, like he leaves him for bait. And then the predator comes and he's like, "I'm like you. We're like friends." And then to make sure that he's not a booby trap, the predator like stabs him. It's kind of funny. The movie Predators is just quality. Oh yes, Bill Paxton is in there too. Trying to think, if there are any other big name actors hiding in the Predator franchise. No, I can't. Nothing's immediately jumping out. Whew. Yeah, no, I really like. I like in Predators how they find that guy who's been living on the preserve planet for a long time, and he's just like got all the like predator gear on him and stuff like that, but he ends up being a bit of a wet blanket because he just like betrays them. But I liked his character. I liked that they had this survivor character who's like also insane. Like as he's trying to like smoke the main characters to death, he's talking to himself. He's like, yeah, I know I gotta murder them. Yeah, don't worry about it, I'm doing it. And it's funny. Oh yeah, I wanted to go back to, I was talking about this movie the other day, but since we're talking about characters who are a little bit off, I want to go back and talk about Fury Road a little bit more, because Mad Max is, I think that's the only Mad Max movie, aside from the first one, because they basically have this moment in the first Mad Max where he like snaps, and it's like, okay, now he's Mad Max. And that was done well, but I feel like you don't really have that in like the Road Warrior or Thunderdome. You could say that he's just come to accept his lot in the apocalypse kind of thing. But I really like Fury Road making Mad Max just completely nuts. And he's having visions all the time, and he's completely traumatized, and he doesn't trust other human beings. And it's just an interesting take on the character. And it even like has a point, because it like brings the question of, are his mental visions more than just hallucinations? Because there's this thing that keeps happening to him where this vision of a little girl like puts her hands out, and he kind of like matches her hand placement with his and puts his hand on his head. But when he does that, he basically blocks a spike that's being shot into his face, and it goes through his hand, so the hand kind of lessens the impact, like his hand gets pinned to his face. But he wouldn't have blocked that shot unless he was hallucinating. I like little details like that. Tom Hardy, that's the other guy playing Mad Max other than Mel Gibson. I think actually I would have liked Tom Hardy as Mad Max if they just would have kept that mask on his face, because he's wearing this cool muzzle mask thing, and I think it would have just been easier to believe that Mad Max was underneath there if you just obstructed his face a little bit. Because the way it is now, you're just questioning how young Max is. And it's like, why is a younger Mad Max more traumatized than Beyond Thunderdome Mad Max? That doesn't make sense. but he is Mad Max. But I always like, I did bring it up last time, but I do want to always bring up, if you want to have a fun drinking or smoking game, watch Fury Road and drink or smoke every time they waste water. It gets really funny really fast. It's like, what I used to love to do is I would have marijuana smoking games that I would do for watching Bollywood movies. Anybody watch Bollywood movies? Those are some crazy shit. Okay, I can't even describe how insane Bollywood is. I don't even know where to start. If you've never seen Bollywood movies, they're movies from India. And they feel like they were all made in the 80s, but they have the technology of modern day movie making and potentially unlimited budgets.
Short of $2.
Oh, if I had it, I would totally give it to you, but I don't got it. I got a spare lighter if you want.
Oh, well, that'll work.
Good luck, brother. Yeah, I feel bad. If I had a couple bucks, I would have gave it to that guy there, but unfortunately, I don't have a couple bucks to give right now. But kind of lost my train of thought there. But what was I talking about? I was talking about Fury Road. I don't know. I completely lost my train of thought. That's all right. Just thinking about what I'm gonna watch next on Netflix there. I was watching, what's it called? Sanctuary. Yeah, Sanctuary is this show on Netflix, and it's all about sumo wrestling, and it's pretty good. But the main character, I think that the show on Netflix called Sanctuary is actually based at least partially on an anime called Rowdy Sumo Wrestler Matsuo, I think it was called. And I only saw that because it was one of the only, well, no, it wasn't one of the only ones, but it's one of the anime available to watch on Tubi. And so you can watch that show for free. And it's a really good show, but both Sanctuary and Rowdy Sumo Wrestler Matsuo follow this like tough as nails sumo wrestler who's he doesn't start off as a sumo wrestler. He just starts off as a big guy who's kind of an asshole, and then it's a matter of him getting involved with the sumo stuff and then learning discipline so he can put their natural strength into the sumo wrestling rather than just going off his raw skill. I will say that Rowdy Sumo Wrestler Matsuo had a lot more or a lot less trouble getting into things. In Rowdy Sumo Wrestler Matsuo, I hate the name of that show. It's such a long title. In that show, he's basically kicking ass from the beginning, and he doesn't even need training for the most part. But in Sanctuary, the sumo show on Netflix, it's the main character in that really needs to like train to get things going for himself. Oh, I remember what I was talking about. I was talking about Bollywood movies. Yeah, okay. I want to talk about Bollywood movies. Okay. Bollywood movies are so insane for so many reasons. For one, they're ridiculously fucking long. They'll be like 3.5 hours easy. Two, they have musicals in them, like Disney movies, how like old Disney movies, how things just break into song and dance. It's like that, but a lot of music. Bollywood has so many weird things about it. If you're watching Bollywood, you will learn to understand a couple things about India. They have a serious dispute with Pakistan and likes to call them terrorists. That's something that I found out from watching Bollywood movies. gets a little uncomfortable sometimes. Also, in Bollywood movies, you're not allowed to show smoking on screen unless there's text underneath the screen saying that smoking is bad and that's not good. And it's really funny because you'll be watching the Bollywood movie and then out of nowhere the text shows up on the screen and you're like, what the fuck? And it turns out there's like some guy way off in the background like puffing on a cigarette, but they have to put that warning up. They have to do it. But yeah, it appears our audience has left us, but that's all right. We'll just keep on keeping on. And I'll just keep talking about Bollywood movies because they're so much fun. Okay, another thing about Bollywood movies is a lot of times the hero is like the biggest douchebag in the universe. Like, Bollywood movie heroes are sometimes so despicably evil. You just can't believe they're winning. Like, even though the whole movie's about them winning and going through life, you have a main character who's actually sexually assaulting someone or planning to sexually assault someone, and it's played off like a joke. And I think that was this Bollywood movie called The Real Tiger, I believe, had that scene where he's trying to force himself on this girl he liked, and through shenanigans, they accidentally kidnap the old lady of the house instead of her. And once the old lady realizes that she's been captured by people that mean to do assaults, she's like, oh, if you did this with my granddaughter, I would be a grandmother by now. And it's like, that's gross. Like, that's just really gross. And a lot of the times, the main character will like beat up the wife of the villain, and then you're like, I'm not sure whose side I'm on right now, because it's like, that guy's the villain that does evil stuff, but Bollywood hero guy just beat up a woman, and it's like, that's fucked up. Why are Bollywood heroes so horrible? Okay, there's so much weird stuff in Bollywood movies. They also steal stuff from other movies. Like, they'll straight up steal scenes from The Godfather, and like, just, you've seen these scenes before kind of thing. It's funny. What was I going to say there? Oh yeah, there is a Bollywood movie that claims to be about Bruce Lee, and throughout the movie they show iconic images of Bruce Lee. They know who Bruce Lee is, okay? But for some reason they make this movie, this Bollywood movie, that's all about Bruce Lee. Who is Bruce Lee? Well, Bruce Lee is an Indian stuntman. and he lives in the shadow of the real action star. And it's like, the Bollywood Bruce Lee movie has nothing, and I mean nothing, to do with Bruce Lee. It is hilarious. We had a viewer back for a second, but then they left again. Whew, I need to find a place to take a leak. Yeah, I think I found a spot. Okay, I'll just be 1 second. But yeah, if you have never watched Bollywood movies, I really recommend giving them a check. There used to be a whole bunch of them on YouTube you could just watch for free. I don't know if that is still the case or not. Oh, a really, like, an actual good Bollywood movie is Robot. that is basically Bollywood Terminator, and you may have seen clips of it where they called it Bollywood Terminator, but it is called Robot. And it is just a quality movie about a really entertaining robot villain. And then there's a twist at the end that he really isn't in control of himself. It's a bunch of bullshit. But it's a really good movie. It's like the doctor creates a robot. And this is another one of Bollywood heroes are all assholes thing. Where the main character builds a perfect robot that's like really great at what it does. And it's so great and so advanced. His robot falls in love with his woman. And because he's the Bollywood hero, of course he responds in a totally reasonable way. And he just dumps acid all over this robot. And again, that's the hero character is doing this to the robot. And so the robot turns around and becomes like this ultimate villain, like the Terminator if he just did it all himself. Like there's no Skynet. He's fucking Skynet. And he's a badass motherfucker. He's awesome. He's cool. He can magnetize guns and like control like 30 guns at the same time. He's way better than the Terminator. He eventually they make a bunch of Bollywood Terminators and they like magnetize together and they like form into like this giant ball with machine guns, and then they turn to a snake that has machine guns for a tongue. It's cool shit. It's cool shit, man. But I'll be wrapping things up shortly. I'm just call it quits when I get home, and I'm just about there now. Seems my audience has gotten a little bored of me and has taken off, but I don't take it personally. If you want to check things out, you can check this out as an upload later on, and that's all right too, you know. Where we seem to be getting progressively less and less upvotes the more I do live streaming, so I feel like I'm kind of losing people a little bit there, but that's okay too. People are not obligated to watch me or like me or anything, but it just kind of hurts when I was at 3 upvotes and it goes down to 2. It's like, what did I say? What did I do? And I'm pretty sure that I lost an upvote right around the time I was talking about doing my tattoos. And that hurts a little bit, only because that's kind of my ultimate, one of my bigger contributions to things is I'm willing to you know, do a memorial tattoo for people. And I might have lost somebody when I told them I didn't tattoo myself while I was on the walk. And they might have thought it was just more badass if I was there on the walk tattooing myself on the fly kind of thing. And yeah, that would be badass, but you kind of need time to yourself to do tattooing and stuff, you know? So it's not necessarily realistic. But because of the way I had so many supporters and then they all kind of got scared away, I don't think any of the people who submitted names to be tattooed on me even realized that I did it. But even though the people whose names I tattooed, or the people who gave me the names to be tattooed on me might not know that I have done it, I'm still glad to do it. And I hope one day I can let them know that I'm carrying, their lost loved ones are carrying along with me. And I really appreciate that someone was willing to give those names. That it's a great honor to carry them with me. Don't know if anybody can hear me. I'm having technical difficulties right at the end here. I was just about to wrap things up and say goodbye for the evening, but my camera doesn't appear to be working, so I don't know if my audio is working. I'm just gotta figure out if my audio is working, and then I'll say goodbye here. Hey there, I see we got a viewer. I'm just wrapping things up. I'm just not sure if my audio is working. I'm trying to get my camera working. Yeah, no, I'm probably really making it lame at the end of the stream here. I'm just trying to bring up my live stream on my other phone so I can see what is actually happening on that end. What is happening? Oh, you can see me on the one I'm streaming with. I can't see shit, but apparently the stream is working. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll just call it quits here. I'm Captain Canada, Joseph Arthur Roselle. I want to thank you for watching. I want to wish you all luck in the world. I love you, and I want you to remember that suicide is never the answer. All right. Peace out for now.